Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm pleased to be joined by District Attorney Vance, who's to my right, District Attorney Madeline Singas, and District Attorney Tim Sini. As you know, Vance is District Attorney of Manhattan County, Madeline Singas, Nassau County, and Tim Sini, Suffolk County. The specific issue we're here to talk about today is the case of Eric Schneiderman and the way we are proceeding. Eric Schneiderman, as you know, resigned as Attorney General, and there are possible sexual harassment, sexual abuse charges related to his situation, which will be looked at by District Attorney Madeline Singas. For me, I'd like to take a step back from just the case of Eric Schneiderman, because the context here is important. And today we're talking about Eric Schneiderman, but this is one in a long series of cases. And I think the totality of the situation and the context, frankly, is worth noting. There has been a positive explosion in the number of women coming forward and bringing charges or bringing cases or allegations of abuse and sexual abuse. The Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, but women are speaking up, and I think that is a great thing. I think it takes courage, it takes strength for them to step up and speak up. But they are highlighting an issue that has gone on for decades, and it is chronic in our society. And it's bigger than any one case. There has been a long-term practice in society of sexual abuse of women and an abuse of power. And it's every industry. Today we're talking about government politics, but it's journalism, it's the military, it's entertainment. There's hardly been an industry that has been untouched. It's all across the country, and it's at all levels. And it's been going on literally for decades. I was speaking with an older woman who's now retired, who worked in different offices for a number of years. And she said, look, it was very commonplace for the boss to touch you inappropriately. And I said, well, what did you do and what did you say? And she said, nothing. There was no one to talk to. There was no one to complain to. And it was just part of an accepted practice. What women are saying today is, no how, no way, no more. And that is a great thing. And I think we have a moment today in society to make change. And it doesn't happen often. But when society stands up and says enough is enough, and comes forward and says, I want to reveal this injustice, and I demand a correction, that's an opportunity to actually make reform and move forward. We passed in this state the most sweeping sexual harassment policy that has ever been passed in the country, binding on all governments in the state and private sector companies. Unfortunately, the federal government, the Congress, the silence has been deafening. And I think it's repulsive that they are not stepping up to reform a situation that has been demonstrated time and time again. So, yes, we are attending to the individual case, but even more, remember that this case is one in an ongoing series. It's almost on a weekly basis that there is another high-profile case. And for every high-profile cases, there are probably 10 middle-level cases and low-level cases, often involving men, usually involving men, They can involve women, but men were in position of power. Men were the supervisors. Men were the bosses. And it's an abuse of that power and an abuse of that relationship. And that's really the context for what we're talking about. But I do believe we have an opportunity for change. I liken it to the gun violence situation and what we're seeing in Parkland, Florida. This is not the first massacre we had in Parkland, Florida. But it was a societal tipping point. And people said enough is enough. And young people said enough is enough. And that's when change comes. Change should come to this nation's policy vis-a-vis guns, and change should come to this nation's policy vis-a-vis sexual harassment against women, which is chronic, long-term, and endemic, and it has to stop. And we're going to do our part. On the individual case of Eric Schneiderman, first, we want the people of the state to know that no one is above the law, and the law will be justly and swiftly prosecuted, whether you're the Attorney General, whether you're the head of a large corporation, whether you're a media big shot, it does not matter. The law is the law, and everyone is subject to the law, and that includes the former Attorney General. I've asked District Attorney Madeline Singas to look at the case. I've asked her to make it a priority in her office. I've asked her to leave no stone unturned, to look at all the allegations that were in the article that first exposed the situation, but also to do an independent investigation and a thorough investigation and find out all the facts. I've also asked the district attorney to look at the Attorney General's office itself to see if there was any facilitation by the office or any cooperation by the office as a secondary but related matter. I believe the district attorney is extraordinarily qualified in this regard. She worked in the Queens District Attorney's office. She did domestic violence work. She headed the Special Victims Unit in the Nassau County District Attorney's office. So she is well experienced and well briefed in these areas in particular. And she has agreed to take the case, and I thank her for it. And I have total confidence in her ability to do everything she can do to make sure justice is sure and swift. And with that, let me turn it over to District Attorney Madeline Singas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the governor for the immense trust that he has placed in me and in my office by designating me as special prosecutor in this matter. I do also want to acknowledge my esteemed colleagues, Manhattan District Attorney Vance, who is a giant amongst us in criminal justice, who is a leader in so many fields. He's a friend and he's an advisor, and I'm happy to share the stage with him. And my other esteemed colleague to the east of me in Suffolk County, Tim Sini. And while Tim hasn't been a DA for that long a period of time, in his short tenure, he has already placed his mark and given the people of Suffolk County the integrity and the leadership that they deserve in the criminal justice area. I will not speak specifically to the allegations that were raised by Monday's New Yorker article concerning the conduct of the former Attorney General, but suffice it to say that these allegations are extremely disturbing and very troubling. When the governor called and asked me if I would take on this matter, I told him that I would do so, and I would begin an investigation that is thorough, that is fair, that is swift, and that makes sure that everyone in the system is dealt with integrity and dignity. We will listen to anyone who comes into the office to talk to us about victimization. We will gather the evidence that is necessary. We will analyze that evidence. We will analyze the laws of New York State to see when we can bring charges, if we can bring charges. We will treat this case the same as we do all cases. There will be no stone left unturned. There will be a thorough and fair investigation. We will treat this case the same whether the alleged perpetrator is a worker or a CEO or the former Attorney General of the state of New York. I have spent the entirety of my 27-year legal career as a prosecutor. It is a job that I know well. I began my career in 1991 in the Queens County District Attorney's Office, working in a county where I grew up and where so many of my family members still reside. In the year 2000, I was proud to be one of the founding members of the Domestic Violence Bureau in the Queens County District Attorney's Office, where we pioneered evidence-based strategies to combat domestic violence, to support domestic violence victims, and to hold abusers accountable. Because of the work that I did in Queens in 2006, the newly elected District Attorney of Nassau County, Kathleen Rice, asked me to come to Nassau, a place where I was now residing and raising my family, to start the first Special Victims Bureau in Nassau County. I have overseen in my career as a prosecutor thousands of cases involving domestic violence, involving assaults, involving sexual abuses. I am very well versed in this area of law, and I intend to bring that integrity to this case as I do all cases. I have protected and been the voice for vulnerable victims, whether they're women, children, or the elderly, for the bulk of my career. These cases are the most troubling and gut-wrenching and complex cases a prosecutor could ever prosecute. They're difficult because of the relationships that women are in. They're difficult because of the emotional investment and the codependence that these relationships exhibit. They are difficult because women are frightened. Women are often tied to their abuser for a variety of reasons. It could be financial. It could be because they fear for their safety or the safety of their children. Our work is to continue to ensure victims that they will be supported, that they will be connected to the services that they need to help extricate themselves from these relationships. And our work is to ensure that offenders are held accountable for their actions. Helping these women, being a voice for the vulnerable, is my passion. And I continue to do it every day because helping just one person make a difference in their life, helping one person leave an abusive relationship, is more gratifying than any work that I have ever done. I'm very proud of special victims prosecutors in my office and in every office throughout the state because it is demanding, emotional, gut-wrenching work. And I'm proud to consider myself a special victims prosecutor and leader. I say this to ensure New Yorkers that this matter will receive top priority in my office. I have assembled a team of extremely talented prosecutors who collectively have more than 125 years of experience in these matters. We will do this investigation fairly and thoroughly, and I urge anyone with information to please come forward and to call us at 516-287-3938. It's important that we hear from you. It's important to know that you will be treated respectfully. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to the governor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam District Attorney. The District Attorney of Suffolk County, Tim Sini, he may be relatively new in his position, but he is no stranger to law enforcement. He has a long background in law enforcement, and in this job, he's getting older by the minute. There's a suggestion in the article that there may have been incidents that have happened in Suffolk County, and the district attorney is going to be investigating that. He's going to be cooperating with the Nassau County District Attorney, and I want to thank him very much for his good work and for his cooperation. And with that, I turn it over to District Attorney Sini.
Thank you very much, Governor. So I was police commissioner prior to being elected as the Suffolk County District Attorney and taking office just this past January. I came into the police department in the midst of a scandal as well. The former chief of department in the police department was federally indicted and has since been convicted. And then when I took over the district attorney's office, my predecessor also was indicted prior to myself taking office. So I'm no stranger to public corruption scandals. And what I do know about public corruption scandals is, in order to effectively address them, we need leadership to step forward, people with integrity to step forward and to aggressively address the problem. And I think that's what you see here today, starting with the governor's leadership, and of course, having two of the finest district attorneys in the nation, frankly, participating here today. My colleague, District Attorney Madeline Singas, and of course, District Attorney Vance. I know Madeline very well. We share an island together. We share a passion for seeking justice, and we have had our fair share of cases together. As police commissioner, I work closely with Madeline, and as district attorney, I continue to do so. And I look forward to working with the Nassau County District Attorney's Office and investigating Eric Schneiderman as it relates to Suffolk County. My colleague in Manhattan, District Attorney Vance, has been instrumental in my transition to district attorney. He has graciously assisted my office in every way we have asked. He has opened his doors, and what better partner to have is in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, one of the finest prosecutor's office in the country. What we're here today to do is very simple. Empower victims and hold those accountable, hold those perpetrators who have preyed upon women accountable. And we're also here to convey another very simple message, and that is no one is above the law, even those individuals who place their hand on a Bible and swear to uphold it. So I want to thank the governor for assembling this great team, and I look forward to working with District Attorney Singas on this matter.
Thank you. Just so there's no confusion, the island that Tim and Madeline share is Long Island, and that's all. Because I know, Tim, this is a more suspicious group than you have in Suffolk. Manhattan District Attorney Vance. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is one of the most respected district attorney's offices in the country. There's no doubt about that. I had the pleasure of serving many years ago in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Vance has done a magnificent job. I have total confidence in him and in the office. We have many matters that we work on, that Cy and I have worked on together, and in all of those matters, they've been extraordinary. But in some ways, it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what District Attorney Vance thinks. There's two sides to the equation, and it's important that the public has total confidence in the justice system and everything we're doing. Even in matters of criminal justice, perceptions matter. And I don't want any perception of a conflict of interest. Emotions are high, feelings are high, suspicion is high. It's very important that we do what we do right and fairly without raising any perception issues whatsoever. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is now in the midst of a high-profile case, as you know, against Harvey Weinstein. That's a highly charged case. That case also has an overlap with the Attorney General's office in a twist of fate. And I want to make sure that there is no perception of any conflict given that situation. Because again, here, perception matters. So I believe the best path forward is to keep the matters separate. Madeline Singas will be handling the Attorney General's office investigation, and Eric Schneiderman, and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is in the midst of handling a case on Harvey Weinstein. I also have no doubt that when Cy Vance's work is finished, and when District Attorney Madeline Singas's work is finished, the public will be 100% confident that justice was done, and it was fair, and it was swift, and there will be not only in reality, but also in perception, the resolutions will be inarguable. And that's what's most important. Confidence in the justice system, no question for the justice system, especially on matters as sensitive as these matters are. And I want to thank District Attorney Cy Vance for not only all his good work, but for his cooperation in this matter. With that, I'll turn it over to District Attorney Cy Vance.
Thank you, Governor, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here this afternoon. The Governor, the newly elected and great DA from Suffolk County, and I are all here today to stand behind District Attorney Madeline Singas as she takes over the investigation into the matters surrounding Eric Schneiderman. To the survivors of these recently reported allegations, I simply want to add and reaffirm my total confidence in Madeline and DA Singas, who is herself, as the Governor has described, an extraordinarily skilled and experienced prosecutor, and particularly in the area of sexual violence. You know, all of you, that I sent a letter to the Governor on Tuesday night, and in that letter I memorialized my concerns about the special appointment process. Now, process is important, but justice for victims of crime in Manhattan is my top priority, and it always will be. And an extended back and forth about process does not serve survivors of the incidents that have been alleged. And to those survivors, all of us on this stage are here first to thank you for your courage in coming forward. And I want to assure you that I will assist Madeline Singas proudly in any way that she directs. We did open an investigation. It lasted about 12 hours. And we issued a number of subpoenas, and everything that comes back to our office as a result of that will go immediately to Madeline Singas so that she has all the information. And I'd also just like to say to survivors of so many other sexual intimate partner violences committed in Manhattan, my office's commitment to you, as it has been in my office for generations, is unwavering. Every day, the Special Victims Bureau in my office also works tirelessly to advocate for survivors and to hold predators involved with sexual violence accountable, whatever their background. And we've done so with an extraordinary rate of success. We have 35 attorneys dedicated to these cases, and we handled 8,000 cases in 2017 alone. So these are areas where we are deeply experienced, and I'm very proud of the work of our office. We stand on the front lines of the justice system to protect survivors of sexual violence, and I stand with my DA partners, who really are two of the best DAs I've ever met and had the privilege to work with, and look forward to working with Tim particularly. So it's important as we leave here today, and what I'd like to say, Governor, that I, DA Sini, and everyone entrusted with the responsibility to protect sex crime survivors, we're all going to work together, and we're going to do it thoughtfully, and we're going to do it collectively, and we're going to do it with the best interests of survivors in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, District Attorney.